National Police spokesperson, Brigadier Vish Naidoo. A very good evening to you, Brigadier. We thank you very much for your time. Of course, many questions there from people wanting answers on how exactly a gun actually passed through metal detectors that we do believe are inside parliamentary offices.
Yeah, very good evening, and thank you for this opportunity. Of course, this is also of a very serious concern to us, as you rightfully put it, that it's a national key point, and national key points, there is a minimum security standard that must be adhered to. And of course, in all entrances to the parliamentary precinct that's within the outer perimeter of the parliamentary precinct, do have access control points, which of course they are installed with metal detectors, scanners, and so forth. So it's of serious concern to us how a person was able to get into the precinct, with a firearm. And this, of course, was a very long-term employee of that particular building, which is 90 Plain Street. We are, in respect of his death, we are currently investigating an inquest, which is to determine the circumstances and the cause of his death. But running concurrently with that, we also have an internal investigation, both by the police as well as Parliament, to try and establish exactly how this man was able to take a firearm into the precinct, whether he was allowed to carry a firearm, or if he wasn't, how was he able to take the firearm to his office, and so forth.
Now, due to this incident, of course, now police have been accused of sloppiness in those standards that you just mentioned, those minimum standards that should be placed within a parliamentary precinct, and of course a national key point, providing adequate security at Parliament. What is your response to that?
The minimum security standards is set, by the police, and of course, having said that, we are the ones that are expected to implement it effectively and efficiently. And of course, now that this has happened, we want to reassure everyone that all the viewers and the listeners that we will take whatever steps necessary, particularly from a departmental perspective, to ensure that there is some sanction implemented on the person responsible if we find that there was any negligence on anyone's part. So right now we cannot say exactly how this happened. I don't want to preempt both investigations, both the inquest as well as the internal investigation. I think we need to allow for those investigations to take its course, and we just want to assure the nation, or reassure the nation, that necessary steps will be taken should somebody be found to have been wanting or not performing their duties in a manner that was expected of them to perform.
In terms of that reassurance, explain to us the actual role that is supposed to be played by police in securing sites that have been categorized as national key points across the country.
Well, without giving away too much, of course, as you very rightfully say, that's a national key point. I cannot tell you what the roles and responsibilities of the police are there. But one of the roles, which I think now is already in the public domain, is that there must be proper access control. And that access control meaning that persons that are not expected to be in certain areas of the parliamentary precinct must not be allowed in without the proper accreditations, without the proper passes, and so forth. And those that are passing in, if they're not allowed to be in any particular in possession of any particular equipment, be it weapons, dangerous weapons, and so forth, they must not be allowed into the precinct should they insist on being in possession of those weapons. But for those that are allowed to be in possession of weapons, of course, they can be allowed to go in. That's some of the things that are expected of those that are responsible to perform the duties of access control. There are, of course, other duties that are expected of police officers at the precinct, which, for security reasons, we cannot divulge exactly what they are. But access control and the security of the parliamentary precinct in its entirety is of utmost importance, and we have to ensure that our leaders go to that particular institution every single day, and we have to ensure that the highest degree of security is maintained. And therefore it's of such a serious concern to us that somebody was able to get into that particular part of the parliamentary precinct with a firearm, albeit that person may have been an employee of that environment. But if the person is not allowed to take a firearm there, for us, is totally unacceptable, and therefore we have embarked on this internal investigation.
Yeah, well, as that internal investigation is ongoing, following this huge security breach in Parliament, what measures have been placed by the police in the interim to make sure that this type of situation does not happen come Monday morning?
Well, the situation this type of incident can never happen again, irrespective of who it is, which person is going into, whether it's a long-time employee, whether it's an MP or whoever it may be that is supposed to be on the precinct. We cannot allow such persons to enter that environment being in possession of any form of weapon, be it a dangerous weapon or a firearm. So this can't happen. I've had discussions with the leadership of the security detail at Parliament to make sure that the security is up and that more stricter measures are put in place to ensure that we don't have a repetition of this or any other form of potential security breach at the parliamentary precinct happen again.
Thank you very much for your time this evening. That was National Police spokesperson Brigadier Vish Naidoo on that parliamentary precinct incident where an employee committed suicide on the premises, was able to actually bring a gun inside the parliamentary precinct, to just getting some clarity there on the security breach as well as where investigations currently stand. We take a